Welcome, Forex Fortune Hunters. Tom Wilmot speaking. The Forex market is open from 5 o'clock on Sunday afternoon all the way through a 5-day window until 5 o'clock on Friday afternoon. And the question that often comes up is there a best or worst time to trade the Forex? Another really important question is, what happens if the market moves when I'm asleep? Obviously, you can't be watching your terminal 15 or 20 hours a day, so what's the best way to anticipate moves, and what is the impact of each one of the various sessions that occurs? I've created an indicator I'd like to share with you in this video that helps us to understand a little better what's going on in the Forex market from a momentum point of view and from a new money on the table point of view. So let's get started. Okay, in this video, when we're going to be talking about session times, let's start right at the beginning. We have on this particular chart just our candlesticks, nothing else. I call it a bare naked price chart. And down in the lower corner, you can see also that I have this magnified market price. This line indicates that we're at the bid price currently of 126.44 on the Euro JPY, and if you were to just give yourself a little further information here, I'll start this again. We'll come down here to properties, and if you wanted to see what the bid line was versus the ask line, there's a little box right here, show the ask line, and you can see that this issue suggests that the spread from your broker at this point is the difference between 126.49 and 44. So on the Euro JPY here in the late afternoon, we have almost a 5-pip spread. Now let's take a look over here just to see what's going on. And we'll review this issue, the Market Watch issue. We're going to come down to Euro JPY. Let's find it here. Bop, bop, bop. And you can see, yes, 4.7 pips. That's a big wide spread. Now, why am I bringing this up now? Because in terms of best and worst times to trade the Forex, let's face it, late in the afternoon, after everybody's asleep, even the Americans have gone home from the trading room, in the 4 to 7 o'clock hour is not a great time. And the real reason is there's typically just a lot of back and forth in the market, and also the spreads really widen, so you want to be very careful about that. One way to keep this under control is to add that ask line to your chart, so you'll just be reminded. The other way, as I showed you, was to go up to the view menu, pull up your Market Watch bid-ask currency list, and check for price spreads by this particular column. This is going to change over the week and the day periods by various sessions, and the more active the market, the tighter the spreads are going to be from your broker. Also, another quick note here, if you're checking this out on the weekend and trying to check this particular issue, remember that there is not an active bid ask spread on the weekend. Those numbers are not going to be reflective of reality. So that's just a first step in our process here. Okay, now MetaTrader also offers another issue that we'll be able to see in terms of where we stand in terms of time frames. Let's come back to the properties menu and let's show period separators. We can actually turn the ask line off for the time being. Period separators is the day over breaks. So we can see now we have a 15-minute chart of the Euro JPY here, and we can see that this was the break in time on Monday evening into the Tuesday Asian session. We had a big downdraft here during the U.S. session, and we've come into the end of the day here, and we're kind of chopping around. Notice if we back this up, we can see here that we have a Sunday night session, and then we moved in and had quite a downdraft here on early Monday morning, Asian session, and into the London session. Now remember, if your chart doesn't move by dragging it like this, keep in mind you may want to have to turn this box on or off. That's always going to bring you back to a particular position. So if you're having trouble going back in history, just click on that icon and you'll be in great shape. So let's back up now again And we want to take a look at what happened last Thursday and Friday. This was February 28th and into March 1st. And we can see here that we had in this area from the overnight session, not too active a period in the Asian early hours, but then a quick drop back and then a reversal and then a move to the upside. Now, in this particular situation, what I wanted to share with you is that I have created an indicator, and it's called Session Times. And I just put it actually on a second view template here of this one, 1+, I'm calling this one. And now we're going to pull into this and see that I've added 3 lines to our video session today, and you can see what the impact actually is of moving into after this quick downdraft at the Asian session. As we hit London open, which is this blue line, we're in a situation where obviously we got some buying power. We pulled into what I call the opening of the New York session here with the orange line, a little chop back and forth, and then an uptick here in terms of the market moving higher during the U.S. stock market session. Continued consolidation here, a little pullback towards the end of the day, and then a resumption of that trend into the Friday market periods. Okay, and you can see as we hit Friday afternoon late, we began to drop back a little bit. This is just a repeat line because it isn't quite sure what to do about the weekend, but in any event, a pullback as traders cleaned out their positions for the weekend. Now, let's step back in just a moment here, take a look. I'm on Forex.com, and as a result, my server is timed out to London. And so if it's in 8 o'clock or so in London, -5 hours for Boston time, which is where I am, Boston, New York, then we'd find ourselves looking for a 3 o'clock window on our opening for the London session. We'd have to be up and out of bed by 3 in the morning to be able to play in this range right here. So 3 equals 8 for London. And it would also equal this time period down here that we'd be looking at from the view of the server in the Forex.com world. Okay, so let's check our timing on this. We have here this vertical line, which I said is the opening of the U.S. market. And notice down here in this session, it'll go away. But in these blocks, as I move my cursor to this line, you'll notice that says 12 o'clock. That's 12 o'clock noon in London. -5 would be 7 o'clock in the morning. That's U.S. time. And then continuing on, this line here is 14:30. 14:30 -5 is our 9:30 New York Stock Exchange open. And once again, this was the Friday session last week. Now let's double check here because we're used to seeing 3 o'clock opening in the U.S. for the London session. 3 + 5 would be about 8 o'clock in London. Let's see how we work out here. And oops, you'll see that 7 o'clock -5 is actually 2 in the morning. What's happening, Tom? What have you done wrong? Well, I'd like to share with you that I think we need to move that idea back about the London Open. When originally we were dealing with Forex, obviously London was the center of the universe, trading all sorts of different pairs prior even to the euro. And as the euro has gained significance, we have to also include the trading that occurs starting in Frankfurt around the 7 or 8 o'clock time frame. So all of the trading that occurs on the continent has to be included too. So what I've done with my charts is to bump back my open, my European open, I'm calling it, to the 2 o'clock in the morning Boston time frame. 2 + 5 is 7 o'clock. So that's the situation here. And we're in a position now where we can see how this market has moved. Once again, if we take a look here, the Asian session on Monday typically isn't that hot unless there's been some over the weekend announcement, but clearly moving into that Frankfurt session and London session, we've had a downtrend and a reversal of the trend that occurred on Friday. We had a little bit of a bounce into that period between 7 and the U.S. Open, and then the U.S. market, New York Stock Exchange, down we go. We've continued until we move into another Asian session, and you can see that's kind of choppy. And we've moved here, still choppy, and then finally we begin to have this downdraft move that we had happen to us in the Tuesday morning session here that ended up today. So we've had that Euro JPY. Now, another thing that you can take into account here is that if you want to take a look at a pair that's specifically oriented toward one market, oftentimes you can see that the pound would be viewed in this way. I'm going to take another one of my indicators off here and go back to the A1 plus. And we can see here on this one, oh, this was a 5-minute chart, sorry. 5 minutes, here we go. This is the, we'll come over to there's our weekend period, there's our Monday session, and here we are with Tuesday. And you can see that there's really not too much going on with the pound, except if you get into the London session and then into the U.S. Dominated markets here at 7 a.m. on a Tuesday morning. The same thing would be true, for example, with a CAD. Let's take a look at that. We're going to get rid of that situation. Here we go. We'll come over by clicking here to the end game, and we'll see that bottom line is not too much going on with this in this particular market, not until you get to London. And typically also you get a lot of volatility with US CAD after the opening of the U.S. market, and CAD also associated with oil. So one of the things we mentioned in the intro was, what do you do if the market moves and you've been asleep? Well, you have to maybe move to a different pair or take a look at a pair that might be trading in a continued trend because of a powerful move in the previous session. So I hope those activities and indicator lines are helpful to you. You can set those up. If you have interest in this indicator, I can put it in my Dropbox account. Check me out at FxFortuneHunter.com or send me an email, any one of those places, or leave a comment here. Please comment on our videos and like them and subscribe to the channel. I can get you these indicators, and hopefully they will help improve your trading. Now, folks, let's get some pips. See you next time.